Okay. What is your name and your age?
My name is Alice Darlington. My age is 89.
Okay. Thank you for meeting with me today. We're just going to go through some questions for the enrichment of other people. So you can share from experiences over your life. So, for the first important question of the day, looking back, how do you perceive time now, and what message would you give younger people about the importance of using their time wisely?
Well, there is a saying, time flies, and truly it does. Uh, I've been here so long, sometimes I forget things, but every if you just have a good time, but first of all, you have to uh, pay attention to life and your children and your family and all that kind of thing before you start traveling or doing things like that. You can have fun at home with your family. You can have fun at going to parks around the area. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money, which is, in my case, what we did. Because when we were married, uh, we had these children, and I think the most important thing is your children, and that you have to concentrate on them and teach them the way you were taught.
So, the message that you would be giving about using time wisely is to focus on family.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, and God.
So, does time then now feel like it goes faster? Is it slower? Does it feel the same as it always has after, you know, 90 almost 90 years? Does do you perceive time the same as you used to?
It was slower when I was younger, before I got married. I mean, I guess I had the child instincts that the day would never come when I could do something and that kind of thing. And lots of times I felt that way if we were planning birthdays or something like that. You have to wait and be patient. Uh, Now it flies.
Hmm.
I am busy all the time. I can't do the important things like cleaning and that kind of stuff, but I can run around and do things for people and share.
So, our next question is, over your lifetime, how has money played a role in happiness and security?
Well, money isn't everything. However, you do need it to live. And when my husband and I were married, the first thing we did was buy a budget book. And you knew what you're going to get in your check each week. So much would go for savings, always savings, and so much for, spending and that kind of thing. And you try to build up because uh, something might go wrong with your refrigerator and you'd have to buy a new one. So you want to save up so you have plenty of money for that. And also, doing things with your children. Yeah. But today, I don't know that people do budget, which I think they should do. And I think it's best when you see something, you don't have to buy it today. You can save the money, which is what we taught our children. Save the money till you have enough money to buy what you need. Otherwise, you're going to be in debt. That's not good.
So, did you ever feel happier with more money, or was happiness really not based at all in your banking?
No, happiness was not based on our bank. Sometimes you get the feeling when you don't have the money, oh, I wish I did, but I don't. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Money is not happiness. In the Bible, it says money is the root of all evil. And I do believe that.
Have you ever witnessed money playing a negative role in the lives of people over your life?
In our life, uh, maybe in the beginning of our marriage when we didn't have enough money to put down the house we borrowed from my grandmother. But it became a priority. We had saved, but we just didn't have quite enough. It became a priority to pay her back. And each year I'd go back with a payment. And at the end of the fourth year, when I was making the last payment to my grandmother, she wouldn't take it. And I said to her, but you have to take it. I can't take it back. My husband won't allow it. We have to pay this debt. And she said to me, Alice, all of my grandchildren have borrowed from me. Most of them have not paid it back. You and your sister are the only ones. So that's
Next question. What is one of the most important things that you've learned about dealing with people?
patience. That one thing is patience. Of course, you have to be caring and listen, but you have to have patience. You have to let that person talk and get whatever their problem is off their minds and that kind of thing. Not necessarily give advice. I'm not in the advice giving business, but yes, patience and caring.
And was there somebody in your life that taught you that in specific? Or is that something you more learned through experience?
Well, my grandmother taught me a great deal in life. I was named after her. I spent a lot of time with her when my grandfather had passed, and even my dates would take me back to my grandmother's house on Saturday night. And if I was late, which had happened one time only when my watch stopped, and it truly did, I got home and she said to me, Alice, you will be up tomorrow and you will be in church, and walked away. So, yeah, that's kind of the way it is.
So, for question number 5, what is one of the biggest lessons that God has taught you?
Prayer and patience.
Prayer, how so?
Yes, prayer, how so? Well, whenever there's a problem, when my husband lived, we talked it over. And we would pray together, go to bed, and by the next morning, there was an answer there for us. It seemed, you have to have patience though. Sometimes it was more than the next morning, a couple of days, how things would work out. But yes, definitely prayer and patience. Again, that may seem redundant at this point, but actually, that's how we lived our life. Prayer and patience.
So, you've mentioned your husband a few times. What is or was the key to having a happy marriage? Do you have advice for people that are going to get married or that have been married for a while on the key?
Again, I have to come back to prayer. we had a lot of disagreements. I'm not saying we never had a disagreement. We did. I did not think the way he did sometimes. He did not think the way I did. So therefore, we would not have agree on things. And again, we would sit here and we would talk it out and have our prayer and go to bed. And the interesting part of it is, usually in the morning, the prayer would be answered and we would be drawn together. Maybe we talked in the morning and found out that we were both thinking the same thing, but we didn't express it right, that kind of thing. And so consequently, that's how we handled that.
So praying together is
Yeah,
what you would say is
yeah,
the most important thing.
most important thing. It's always been the most important thing for us.
So then, moving into a little bit more of Coventry specific questions. As we approach the 300th anniversary of Coventry Church, and I know you've only been attending for 6 or 7 years, how has God used Coventry in your life to mature you as a Christian?
Well, I think when my husband died, I became, I was running away from the situation. And so I went from church to church, different churches, Methodist, Baptist, back into where I used to be, and places like that. And still, I could not find peace. I could not find love. I decided that I would go to Coventry because I had children there, and my sister had been there, and I loved it. So I started going there. And then I had a stroke, and I was in the hospital for a week. And who came but Pastor Mark? And I think while I lay there in the hospital bed with my prayers and myself and whatever, I thought I should talk to him about becoming a member and doing more things. So I took the course. Even though I was a member of another church, I had my letter transferred. But I took the course and started doing different things. I involved myself in things like the Popeye Supper, which they have once a year, except the years of COVID. And then I started working for the luncheons after the memorial services were held. But then I became so close to some people, and when there were problems, I started sending out get well cards, bereavement cards, thinking of you cards. And I think I just became so involved, and I'm learning more in the Sunday school classes than I did. I don't know if when I was married, I was too busy worrying about my children, this and that. But it was then that I realized at Coventry that I had missed out on a lot of things. And so now I'm still learning. My grandmother had a saying, you're never too old to learn. So therefore, I think I am still really learning. I'm learning more about the Bible. It isn't that I didn't read it, but I'm not sure it sunk in sometimes, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
And then for our final question, what was an event or a moment from Coventry Church that you'll never forget?
That's easy. My sister was 7 years older than I was. So I was about 13. and she asked me to be the junior bridesmaid. I was just little, and we were looking for gowns and things like that. Couldn't find any. I was between sizes, and nothing came up. But my brother-in-law, Kent, his sister, Marie, got her gown. It was green. It was the wedding was to take place in Coventry Brethren Church, and it was winter. It was New Year's Eve, and Sis made my dress. And when I got to church, well, of course she'd seen it on me before, but when I got to church and this and that, she says to me, "I wish I'd have made my dress too. We could be alike." And I said, "I wish you had to." But the biggest thing was walking down that aisle, right down the center of the aisle, alone, and being in the church and being with their friends and, whatever. So yeah, that wedding was that took place. It was the first wedding I was ever in, but it was the most exciting wedding I've ever been in. And since then, I've had my grandchildren and children married there. So yes.
So, do you want to share with everybody how many children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren you have today?
Today I had for myself 6 children, but one is deceased. From those 6 children, I got 18 grandchildren, and one of those is also deceased. And great grandchildren, I have 12, with another one on the way this summer.
Now, I'm not going to ask you to name all of the names or anything, but I'm sure you could. But what are the how many boys are there versus how many girls for your great grandchildren?
For my great grandchildren, I have 7 boys, and I have 5 girls, but the next one, which is going to be born in July, will be a girl, so I'll have 6, 13.
Now, a lot of people today don't have a family like yours. A lot of people don't prioritize family the same that past generations prioritized family. So, what would you say to younger people about the importance of family and the value of sticking together as a family?
Well, it's been I guess you could say it's been a wonderful experience for me. I would like to have had more children than I did, but money and doctors said no. We wanted to educate our children, and children are so much fun. They are everything to me, whether it's my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren. I love each one dearly. I go to their events when I know they're going to have them, and invited like cross country, basketball, soccer, whatever. I enjoy that too. Of course, I'm a sports person anyway. But yeah, I love everything about it. Most of all, I just love having them for dinner. I really do. It's a lot of work, but I do love it, and I do get help from my daughters when I have family dinner. I have family dinner once a month now. I used to have it every week, but it's a little bit much for me right now.
Well, thank you, Alice, for letting us get to know you and sharing some of your wisdom with us. Is there any closing remarks you'd like to make to everybody watching before we shut off the video?
Enjoy your family while you can, and do Of course, I believe in discipline too, because I have certain rules on that one. No drinking, no smoking, no motorcycles, and no drugs. And today they are coming into the picture more and more. Drugs are coming in from the south, from our open borders. But if you concentrate on that and talk to your children about it or your grandchildren, the most important thing I'd say is be sure they are church going. They learn to pray and they learn to have patience. Just because something new has come out, you don't have to go out and buy it right away. You don't have to play with your cell phones either. That's the thing I think that I dislike the most, because the children get cell phones too young and they're on them all the time. I have a couple of great grandchildren that actually they're grandchildren. Uh, they're on the phone at night when everybody else is sleeping, which is not good. And so I think you have to really put your time in on God, patience, and your family.
Well, thank you for sharing with us today.